Today we're making whole wheat crepes. Not only is it an elegant recipe, but it's also super healthy and very versatile. So to get started with the crepe batter, we want to look at the flour, and I have some white whole wheat flour. Now the reason it's called white whole wheat flour is it's a softer version of whole wheat flour. The kernel's actually softer, but it's 100% whole wheat. You can also go for a whole wheat pastry flour, which also tends to be a softer flour. And the reason I use this instead of the stone ground is because it makes the crepe or the pancake more delicate. Now in the blender, I've already added some water, so I'll add our flour. And I love this recipe because it's a foolproof way to make these crepes. You just throw everything into the blender. It couldn't be easier. Next, I have some low-fat buttermilk. And buttermilk is a great thing to add to baked goods and to pancakes because it works as a tenderizer. And I always use the low-fat 2% buttermilk because it scales way back on fat. And next, I have some egg whites. And I take out the yolks because it's another way just to cut back a little bit on saturated fat. And I love these crepes because it's a way that you can enjoy a pancake, but the portion size is smaller and they're a lot lighter in calories. Next, I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. Now, if you don't have olive oil on hand, you can always use canola, but olive oil is my favorite because I actually like the little bit of tang that the olive gives to these crepes. Next, I have some salt, just add a pinch, and we're ready to blend this up. Now, this you can actually do the night before if you like. And it's great if you're going to have friends over, if you're having a brunch, you can have this already ready to go in your fridge. So after this is blended up and it's super smooth, you want to make sure to let it rest in the fridge for about an hour. But I've already got a pitcher here ready to go. Now the thing to remember when you're doing anything with whole grains is that it's always best to go with 100% whole grain, like the flour, things like oats, wheat berries, versus something that's a packaged product. As unfortunately, when things are packaged and processed, they can have a lot of ingredients that you don't really need or want in your diet. Things like artificial flavors, sugars, preservatives, trans fats, you name it. So to cook these crepes up, I have a skillet here on medium heat. Now the school of thought is when you cook up the crepes, the first one is a dud. So don't get discouraged if the first one doesn't come out perfect. So you want to pour about a tablespoon of the batter onto the skillet and turn the skillet around. This will ensure that the crepe comes out nice and thin. Now, as I mentioned, you can do sweet or savory. You can just do a little bit of granulated sugar, or I like to do a sweet chocolate hazelnut spread on this. But that's strictly for dessert. But if you're having these as a savory dish, they can actually be quite healthy in comparison to pancakes because they're a lot lower in calories. And if you're going to do something like a cured meat, prosciutto is great because it's leaner than bacon. And another thing is it's already pre-cooked, and you can just simply cut off some of the fat around the edges to cut further back on the saturated fat. And prosciutto is a smoked product, so it has a really rich, salty, flavorful taste to it. So you don't need to use a lot. One slice will be great for the whole dish. Now, if you happen to have leftover crepes, you can always turn this into a cake too. Do a little bit of low-fat pudding in between, maybe some light whipped cream on top. They're so super versatile. So next I'm just going to cook up an egg to top this. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions out there about eggs. Eggs actually aren't bad for you if you enjoy them in moderation. And the recent studies show that they don't raise your blood cholesterol level. But the reason I like eggs is because they're full of nutrients. They're very high in amino acids, things that we need to build muscle mass, and they're incredibly satisfying. Nothing tastes better than a melted center of an egg yolk. It's so rich and satisfying. And one egg is only 70 calories. So as long as you're enjoying in moderation, that's key. Now the first time I tasted this dish, I was actually on exchange in the north of France. And I was very shy at the time because it was my first semester abroad and I was just learning to speak French. So every day I would pass a little place that had these beautiful crepes. And in the north of France, the savory ones are called galettes. So I would look in the window, but I was too embarrassed to order. So by the end of the trip, I just couldn't resist it anymore. And I went inside and I ordered one of these. And I've been in love with them ever since. So I'm doing an egg here that's like a sunny side egg, sunny side up egg version, but you can do scrambled if you prefer. You can also do a little cheese, but I'm keeping this lighter because I have the prosciutto on top. And this is also a great thing that if you want to do a brunch buffet, you can prepare these ahead of time. Now when it comes to dessert, they're so easy to prepare. You do the crepes in the morning or in the afternoon, and right before your guests arrive, you can do a rich hazelnut chocolate spread. Now if you want, you can top these with some fresh berries, a little powdered sugar, and they're absolutely gorgeous. So our egg is ready to go. Just put this beautiful egg right on top, and you have an amazing breakfast or lunch. You can even top this with a little bit of arugula salad if you like. So now you have a versatile way to enjoy your crepes for breakfast, lunch, or dessert. I'm Jennifer Iserloh, this is Healthy Cheats, and I'll see you soon. I really like the comments, but I would love to get a video response. And if I use it, I'll send you a copy of my book.